What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Attack on Titan, the final season. I think this is episode 21, right?
21, 22 of the final season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, with me as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah. Well, this episode definitely, I would say it has a lot of nostalgia. If you're a fan of the first season of Attack on Titan, this pretty much reminded me a lot of of the stuff that happened, I think, during the Shiganshina arc from season 1, where all the scouts are fighting off the Titans back then, and now they're having to do it again in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that when the pure Titans showed up and started eating the Marley soldiers, too.
Yeah. Well, in this episode, everyone in the world, obviously knows that all the Wall Titans are coming out to pretty much trample them. And Eren and pretty much Eren's comrades and everyone else are still in Shiganshina, just watching all this unfold, just wondering what's going to happen with everyone outside the island. And they even think to themselves of whether or not they can really try to stop him.
Yeah. It seems like John, he's he basically realizes that they're going to be the ones that are going to benefit from all this, but of course, you kind of have different people reacting differently to what Eren's doing. Some of them are against it. You have those that are for it. You have those that feel like they probably are. They're not sure what to think. I think Jean might kind of be in that position where he's not exactly sure if they could stop Eren, or if Eren could even be stopped in the first place. Which I think there is kind of they also kind of wonder if they could even stop Eren. But of course,
yeah. I mean, it's just the fact that they know that he's gonna cause massive amounts of genocide in untold numbers. It's just, it's not gonna matter who it's going to be, whether if it's man, woman, or even child at this point.
Well, yeah, it's
everyone.
Well, that's the thing too. Eren, it doesn't matter if they're Eldians either. What are the people Eren wants to save. But the problem is that the only Eldians that are going to are actually going to benefit from what Eren is doing are those that are on Paradis, or specifically were behind the wall at the time the rumbling even started, because everybody else that's unlucky enough to be outside of that is going to be stomped by all the Colossal Titans.
Yeah. Well, pretty much. We also see what was it? Falco back in human form. Pretty much with everyone discussing what to do with Falco, whether to feed him to one of the pure Titans, just to transform him back. But Connie just forcibly takes him and wants to feed him to his mother to make her human again. Yeah,
I think Connie's kind of letting his emotions get the better of him here, and not really thinking as logically as he otherwise would have, because some of the other characters suggest feeding Falco to Pixis to turn Pixis technically back to normal, because it would have been they really need somebody like Pixis, who's a strategically minded person around this time, that could help them out. But of course, Connie decides to basically take Falco, and he's going to take him to I think it was a Raguko village, and feed Falco to his Titan mother. We find out apparently that Connie this whole time has kind of been I guess visiting his Titan mother from time to time, because as we know, she's just still there. She was I guess when she turned into a pure Titan, she just became stuck. She can't move, so she's still stuck. I guess on top of that house, and she's not able to move from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Connie, instead ends up forcibly taking Falco's body, while all this chaos with the pure Titans rampaging through Shiganshina is happening. Mm-hmm. So they don't have, Mikasa and the others don't have time to react, and they're just busy just trying to take down the pure Titans attacking them. So it pretty much moves on from there, where Mikasa and the others head over to, I think, what was it, the Survey Corps headquarters in the center of the city, trying to fend off a lot of the pure titans attacking that the tower. And like I said, a lot of this is a lot more reminiscent to what happened in season 1 of Attack on Titan. You see like a lot of the pure titans breaking through the building, and then you see like a whole bunch of Survey Corps members like just quivering in fear in front of the pure titans, just pretty much like about to be eaten until like Mikasa and the others just pretty much charge in and start killing each pure titan one by one.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of callbacks to season 1. Like people pointed out that like when some of the Jaegerists were about to be eaten by these 2 pure titans, they broke through the wall. It's pretty much mirrors the scene with I forget what episode it was, but a scene from an episode in season 1 where Jean is like looking out, and these 2 pure titans are just kind of staring at him through like a hole in the wall, and that's pretty much like the same scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course when Shadis comes in to save them, it kind of like is also mirrors the scene where Levi comes to the rescue. I think it was like episode 13 of season 1 when they put the boulder in the hole in the wall in Shiganshina. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of kind of nostalgia moments, and I think people even said like, I guess the scene with Shadis, like it kind of plays out differently than how it did in the manga, and I guess that was kind of because it kind of took inspiration from that particular scene. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
we also rejoin Gabby and Reiner as well, because we find out like that apparently because Eren undid all the hardening, Reiner's armor doesn't work as well as I guess it would otherwise. So Reiner is much more injured, I guess, than he would have been if he still was able to use that. So Reiner's in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, and of course Gabby like pretty much leaves him in the house that he's currently hiding out on just to recover. So she heads out, and then she ends up eventually reuniting with the Browse family, and then ends up saving them from one of the pure titans. And of course, this leads to another interaction with Gabby and I think
Niccolo.
Who was it? I forgot her name. No, not just Niccolo, but I think it was her. It's so eventually, like I think they end up kind of forgiving each other after what happened at during the incident at the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just hard to say if they really forgave each other or not. I think it's more so they recognize they both did like really bad things that probably it's like pretty hard to forgive one another. Like, how Kaya said she was going to, like, I guess prepared to kill Gabby for what she did, and how Gabby, killed Sasha. And they were trying to make a point about how, like Niccolo says, like there's a devil in all of us, like how we all have like things. We all have moments when we would do something like we wouldn't otherwise do, or we do something like evil, I guess. I thought that was an interesting conversation. And I think it feels like it's kind of like the overall theme of the entire series, honestly. Like how every character is, like it's all kind of gray. Like nobody's really good or bad. Like everybody's kind of doing things for their own reasons, and some of them do like really horrible things just for, but for, maybe for justified reasons, maybe not. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But eventually we do go back. What was it, to the scouts and the Survey Corps back at the tower, where they eventually end up dispatching every single Titan. They end up luring there, including what was it, Commander Pixis, who's turned into a Titan.
Yeah, I mean, there's just this really awesome scene where they all jump off at the same time and use the thunder spears. Like the way they did like when they fight the Titans, I mean, it looks incredible. I mean, a lot of people had problems with the ODM gear scenes in the final season part 1, but I really felt like they improved that like a lot in this episode. Like some of them even, it's like some of the scenes in particular, like even kind of reminded me of certain scenes, maybe not as well animated, but almost like just like scenes from the first season. when they're like maneuvering around with the ODM gear. And
Yeah.
it also helps they kind of
didn't. Yeah.
they also brought back the song Barricades from season 2, which I thought was interesting. I honestly didn't expect them to play that song, but I think it makes sense for the scene. A lot of people were criticizing this part and saying it doesn't really fit because, they're kind of the music should be more depressing or whatever, kind of like the Footsteps of Doom track that played when Eren started the rumbling. But I kind of disagree. I think the point of the scene was kind of showing that, it's kind of supposed to be a more uplifting scene, like in the middle of pretty much like the end of the world, sort of just to show like the scouts kind of fighting back, and showing that, some people actually can be good. Like, Shadis, for instance, like he didn't have to save the Jaegerists, but he decided he was going to anyway. Just kind of showing he's still a good person despite, what they did to him. And then the Jaegers kind of joining up with him. So I thought it fit, but I actually, I really like that they used that track in particular.
Yeah, and so eventually they end up taking out all the Titans, and they end up learning. Well, they end up reuniting with Gabby and the Browse family, with Gabby pretty much giving them the details of what happened to her, as well as Reiner, who was stripped of his stripped of his armor because Eren got rid of the hardenings, and Armin, of course, suspects that because all the Titan hardening has been undone, he realizes that Annie has also been freed from her crystal, which we find out at the end of the episode.
And then I also kind of liked in the scene where Gabby's kind of basically like begging Armin like to help her out, because of what she finds out like what they're gonna do with Falco, and she I find it funny how now she wants to talk to Eren. Like she's saying like, is there any way for me to talk, like have like to try to convince Eren? But I think that's pretty much. I mean, at this point, like, why it might be possible, but like I think it's kind of like a little bit too late for that. She could have done that before, but I guess you could argue before she was still like, technically still kind of indoctrinated by the Marley brainwashing. But yeah, I think the highlight, definitely of the episode was, well, the stuff with the ODM gear, them fighting off the Pure Titans, and then just the end of the episode when we see that Annie got out of her, is finally out of the crystal. So I really hate how this whole series leaves off on the worst cliffhangers, because I mean that it just kind of left us with that cliffhanger, and now we have to wait until next week to see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, I think we're left with what I think 6 more episodes left. That's from what I heard. I'm trying to remember how many episodes there were this season. I lost track.
I think there's going to be 12.
But 12. Yeah, so we're literally already halfway through the season already.
Well, yeah, and of course people are saying at the pace they're going, they're not going to be able to adapt the rest of the story with 12 episodes. So it's possible they're either going to do a part 3, either in movie form or series form. We're not really sure, but I guess it depends on how they adapt the rest of the manga content for this season.
Yeah. I mean, well, I definitely enjoyed the episode. It did include a lot of nostalgia, going back to season 1 of the original series. Yeah. Just a lot of callbacks with the scouts fighting off the Titans in Shiganshina, and pretty much a lot of Easter egg moments, of course, like with one of the Titans breaking in and just peeking through the walls, just looking to devour members of the Jaegerists and the Survey Corps inside there.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. These have all consistently been really good. Like I think Mappa's really like improved in comparison to the final season part 1. Like I said, like for example, like the ODM scene, like they did way better with that than they did with the Marley invasion in season the first part.
A lot of the animation with the ODM gear is a lot more hand drawn than it was like they did back in the first part of the final season, in which you see like a lot of the Survey Corps members just zipping in through the ODM gear with CGI animation rather than hand drawn.
Yeah, like those scenes honestly look like I don't know how much they might have improved it for the Blu-ray, but on the TV version it just looked kind of off-putting. But here I think they've done much better with it. So yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about the episode. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen now that Annie's awake again. I just find it kind of funny, I imagine she's just going to go up and ask what she missed while the apocalypse is happening. So it'll be really interesting to see how she reacts to all this. Obviously she knows about some things because I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. I guess it's a slight spoiler. She could hear Armin, I guess, the whole time, like when he would go talk to her. So I guess she does know some things, but of course not everything. But yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to say about the episode.
It was a good episode. I definitely like a lot of the callbacks they did in this episode concerning like how it, a lot of callbacks to season 1. So, but yeah, I don't want to keep repeating myself over and over again. But yeah, I did enjoy this episode, and definitely can't wait to see what's gonna happen next week now that Annie's free from her crystal state.
Yeah. So that being said, until next Sunday, we will see you all next time.